Ta-da! We encounter a near overwhelming variety of choices on a daily basis. Clothing brands tailored to every personal style, technology that caters to our individual preferences, or culinary dishes that seem to reflect the flavors of cultures from all corners of the globe are just some of the many diverse options we come across in our day-to-day life. But at the same time, while those consumer choices seem to multiply, the natural world is facing the opposite fate. Bird populations around the world are declining, with many species becoming increasingly rare. Once common birds are now hard to find, and their risk for extinction is rising. A study published in mid-2023 vividly illustrates the sharp decline in bird numbers across Europe. Since 1980, the bird population has decreased by a quarter. The analysis looked at the development of 170 bird species at 20,000 locations across 28 countries between 1980 and 2016. And it's no better in America, as a study published by the Cornell Lab in September 2019 reveals, according to laboratory director John Fitzpatrick, a staggering loss that suggests the very fabric of North America's ecosystem is unraveling. Insects, likewise, seem to be struggling just as much. Studies on the decline of insect population have existed for years, yet it was the 2017 re-release of the German Nature Reverse study that captured widespread media attention. Recent data indicate a general trend of decrease in insect diversity and numbers. For instance, European grassland butterfly populations are believed to have dropped by 50% between 1990 and 2011. Similar patterns are observed in other well-researched groups, including bees and moths. However, it's not just birds and insects that are listed as endangered on red lists. Red lists are comprehensive documents or registers that indicate the status of a threatened or endangered species. These red lists exist not only for wildlife but also for domestic and farm animals. The extinction of old livestock breeds is not only an aesthetic loss but will also lead to a loss of valuable genes that could prove essential for future animal breeders. The situation with crops is, regrettably, just as concerning. Historically, there was a wide range of regional crop varieties and farm animal breeds, but this diversity has been decreasing significantly for more than 100 years. In industrialized countries, this decline primarily occurred in the 20th century. While the rate of loss had slowed in these regions, developing and emerging countries still experience ongoing and unchecked losses. The German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development attributes the primary cause of agricultural diversity loss to modern agriculture itself. This sector's intensification, rationalization, and specialization have significantly contributed to the reduction in diversity. Additional factors include the introduction of genetically modified crops, insufficient economic incentives for the conservation of biodiversity, and the gradual privatization of genetic resources. But even if nature doesn't show more diversity, is there at least greater diversity among people today? The answer to that is, well, also disappointing. To begin with, people are increasingly speaking in less diverse ways. According to the Society for Threatened Languages, around 1/3 of the 6,500 languages spoken globally are expected to disappear in the coming decades. Some forecasts are even gloomier, predicting that up to 90% of these languages might be lost by the century's end. Languages and dialects are not merely for communication, they embody human culture and mental diversity. As such, the impact of this loss for humanity will be immeasurable. Multiculturalism was genuinely present in the pre-modern era along the trade routes running from West Africa through Egypt, the Near East, Central and South Asia to China and Indonesia. Today, this cultural diversity faces significant erosion due to global homogenization. Cultural erosion is when parts of a culture start to disappear or become lost over time. This issue is not limited to isolated places like Hawaii or Tibet, where the culture of the indigenous people is being overshadowed by intentional external interference. No, it happens everywhere. Cultural erosion is increasingly driven by the forces of consumerism and capitalism. As global brands like McDonald's, Starbucks, and whatever expand into every corner of the world, local traditions and customs often take a backseat. The profilation of these brands promotes a homogenized global culture, overshadowing diverse local practices. In many places, traditional foods and crafts are being surpassed by mass-produced goods and international fast food chains. Everywhere across the globe are traditional markets and artisanal crafts struggling to compete with the allure of multinational retailers. This shift not only erodes cultural diversity, but also diminishes the unique identities of those communities. The rise of consumerism means that cultural heritage is frequently sacrificed on the altar of profit and convenience. This phenomenon reflects a broader trend, where cultural diversity is compromised for economic gain. The subtle dread of monotony becomes apparent to anyone who travels the world. The same brands, the same trends, the same coffee chains, no matter where you go. Everything grows more alike. Everything converges into a uniform scheme. The distinctive practices of cultures are eroded, traditional outfits become standardized, customs become more global, and cities start to look increasingly similar. This monotony inevitably seeps into the core of us humans. The immediate consequences are evident in society. Faces start to resemble each other due to shared passions, and minds grow more similar through common interests. Unconsciously, a uniformity of souls forms, a collective consciousness shaped by increased uniformity. Individuality wanes in favor of the archetype. Will this emerging trend be our salvation, uniting us globally to make decisions that benefit humanity as a whole? Will it help us navigate through a declining world, or does it signal yet another stage in the decline of our diversity, both in culture and thought, showing how we're losing our way without a clear direction? As the world's rich ecosystems give way to monocultures and industrial farming, we're watching a quiet transformation unfold. One where local crops and species vanish, replaced by uniformity. From the fields we harvest to the ideas we share, everything seems to be converging into a singular, less vibrant version of itself. We face a stark choice. Will we rise to the occasion, guided by authentic human values, or drift further as global brands and corporations quietly mold our identities? The path we take now will decide if we preserve our individuality or allow it to be lost, with profound consequences for the future. But what is your opinion? Do you believe it's possible to find a balance between the global unity we're striving for and the need to preserve the rich diversity that makes our world so unique? Can we build a more connected world without sacrificing the unique cultures, ecosystems, and ideas that define us? Or are we heading towards a future where everything just looks the same? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. Share your ideas in the comments below. And if you like, you can subscribe. I trust this video brought some focus to other key aspects of diversity that seem to be missing in the current media coverage. Thanks for your time, and I can't wait to be with you again soon.
See ya, wouldn't wanna be ya.